Dr. Rachel Griffiths, and I'm with my father and partner in aquatics,
Dr. Tom Griffiths.
Welcome to the Drowning Files, where each week we share a lawsuit we've been involved in or another true story with suggestions to learn from these tragedies to save lives. What case do you have today?
Well, this case is a little bit different. It happened a while ago, and the drowning took place at a public pool. And in this particular pool, you had to be at least 15 or 16 years of age in order to enter without a parent. But somehow, some way, this young girl who was about 12 years of age at the time and was a non-swimmer came through the front gate, got into the pool without a parent or a supervisor, and spent a good part of the day bouncing around in the shallow water and playing, getting in and out, playing in the water, as observed by the lifeguards. They actually saw her there. She was a girl that lived in the neighborhood. What happened with this particular swimming pool, and I see this done regularly around the country, is the diving well is set at one side of an L-shaped or a Z-shaped pool. This was an L-shaped pool, large L-shaped pool. And the diving well with 1 meter diving board was located at the bottom of the L. And it had a high diving board at one time, but they took it out as they should have because it didn't have fall protection. It wasn't fall proof. So they removed that, but they still had a 1 meter board. But this girl ended up drowning in the diving well. And in fact, they found her belatedly on the bottom of the diving well, and she was a non-swimmer that should have been in the shallow end of the pool. What happened with this diving well, like so many other diving wells in the country, is lifeguards allow just a host of activities to go on simultaneously in the diving well. A diving well is created for springboard diving, and that's the only thing that should be permitted there unless you have a special activity with a lifeguard supervising that activity, like a climbing wall. Well, in this particular case, the kids were daring each other to go off the diving board, and they were having contests who could jump out the farthest and who could jump up the highest, and kids were running around the diving well decks. People were swimming across the diving well while the diving was taking place. Kids were, bobbing up and down along the deep end wall. So it was just basically chaos in the diving well. And again, I see this happen often. The girl was last seen elbow walking along the wall and into the diving well. She went underneath the lifeline, the buoyant lifeline located at 5 feet, which separates the shallow end of the pool from the diving deep end of the pool. And no one saw her submerge, but she ended up on the bottom of the diving well. And eventually, kids found her, brought her to the surface. The lifeguards then responded, and unfortunately and tragically, the girl drowned.
The wall walking that's something I think is really dangerous. I know I was very upset when they taught my daughter when she was in lessons to do that wall walking. They call it the crab walk, all sorts of names for it. And it's a practice that's done in almost all swim schools. And they teach the kids to walk hand over hand while they're in the swimming pool. They put their hands up on the pool and they go hand over hand into the deep end. The reason I dislike this so much is because the only thing we see when we look at these drowning videos and these drowning cases are kids going hand over hand from shallow to deep end who can't swim. And when they let go of the wall, they can just sink to the bottom and get lost or drown, not come back up. I have tried to find a reason for the crab walking, why that's part of the swim lesson protocol. I haven't found a good one personally. they say it helps strength and that. And then if you're in the deep end, get to the shallow end. But if they're already in the deep end and they can't swim, they're not going to be able to get to the wall and then most likely crab walk down. But basically, if we're doing a risk, weighing the risks, it seems like the risk of learning how to get another way to get to the deep end of the pool when you can't swim is riskier than learning how to get to the deep end of the pool if you don't know how to swim. So those are my comments on crab walking, and I don't think parents should allow it. I don't think swim lessons should allow it. I don't think it's a skill that should be done with kids who can't swim.
I'm like you. I don't think there's any benefit in teaching a kid how to access deeper water while in the swimming pool. It's just crazy. And along those lines, this should be a red flag for all lifeguards when they see anyone using the wall or using the gutter to make their way into the diving well. And I think just recently the American Red Cross came out with a statement somewhere, either in its text or something, about that being a red flag. And so we shouldn't be teaching that skill in youth swimming lessons, number one. And number two, when we see it, whether it's a lifeguard or a parent or just an observer, when we see someone using the wall as a crutch to get to water that is over their head, then any observer should say something and do something to prevent that even adult or child from accessing the deep water by using the gutter system or the wall. I mean, if they wanted to access the deep water, and if they were a swimmer, they would swim there. The reason why they're on the wall is because they can't swim.
Right. And just to re-emphasize, we have seen clearly drowning videos, neurodivergent children or young adults, as well as children who can't swim. We watch them in the video do that to the deep end, let go with their hands, and that's how the drowning happens. And we haven't seen it the other way around, where it was used to help any kid.
Right.
Did you have other things to note?
Well, I just want to say, in this lawsuit, I thought it was quite egregious that the city allowed anyone at any time to use a diving well, and the lifeguards didn't manage the activities in the diving well. They didn't limit the activities in the diving well. And then this young woman who couldn't swim, this young gal, accessed the deep water by crab walking, as you call it, or wall walking. When she slipped beneath the surface, the lifeguards first of all, they didn't stop her. Secondly, they didn't rescue her. And so I thought it was a good case for the plaintiff, for the family, but it went to a jury trial, and the jury trial sided with the defense. The city is not responsible. This girl accessed the pool without an adult supervisor, and she didn't know how to swim. She should have stayed in the shallow water. So I was pretty surprised at that verdict. The jury sided with the city's pool rather than the family. So that was a little bit surprising to me.